Hello, welcome back to Randomization Live Noding. Today I'll be sharing with you this node setup that's kind of like becoming like a classic node setup, but it's still pretty useful for people to understand bounding box and Boolean cut. So the setup is becoming more and more simpler, and if you probably at some point we can just use geometry nodes, but this is I think one of the example. So let me try to explain this. So it's a Suzanne monkey head that's being exported out as alpha, and I subdivided it, remesh it, and then so it's preparing it for Boolean using beta object. So beta object is really just a slices of plane with some kind of thickness. So I can make it really thin or a little bit thicker. But yeah, basically it's slicing Suzanne head using Boolean. So it's just a basic plane. I can just hide it, and we can simply make a cut. The way I set it up is using this bounding box. So imagine there's some kind of bounding box. I can maybe preview it. So bounding box is really useful, especially if you have any 3D objects. The bounding box will cover your 3D objects. Normally the bounding box is aligned into the XYZ axis. So in this case I'm using the minimum X and maximum X from using, this is SVERCHOK nodes, and from the minimum X and maximum X in the X-axis, I simply turn it into a segment, so I can make a division based on this number. So any number of cut should pretty much just work. So yeah, if you want to make a cut, for example, in a different axis, for example in the y-axis, you just simply enable y, so the bounding box minimum and maximum y-axis. Let's see. So this is minimum y, this is maximum y, and the cutter should be in the x and z axis. Right, so it makes sense after you use it a couple of times. So the setup is like this. I think this is kind of like a solved problem. Another way you can do this is kind of like in terms of slab, thinking of the bounding box. So here I'm also using the bounding box. The setup seems complicated, but not really. So first of all, I have Suzanne and I transform it in a random angle. So I can rotate Suzanne, etc. And the bounding box will follow Suzanne, and basically enabling us to make a cut or slab based on the XYZ axis bounding box. So from Suzanne output, and I'm basically getting the bounding box and then rotating the bounding box itself to match Suzanne's XYZ orientations, and the resulting box is becoming this Boolean cutter. So it's currently hidden, but it's doing the intersection. So this is the box that's been scaled a little bit. If I zero out this guy, maybe it's easier. So this is the scale of the box that's gonna cut Suzanne in XYZ orientation. It's kind of like a trimming, a way to quickly trim an object. and you can offset the cutter in z-axis. I think it's this is something also that I wish that geometry nodes will have eventually. So bounding box is really important, and being able to just make a cut slice of your 3D object is very useful. This is just an example of setup using SVERCHOK nodes. So it's not the fastest, but still Blender Boolean is really fast. I think my setup is too high resolution or something. So see, being able to just create a bounding box that's trimming your 3D in XYZ orientations is very useful. Yeah, the setup here seems slightly confusing, but I think this, I don't need this. So bounding box center multiplied with this to control the box, and then apply the matrix as beta. File, save. And the output of this beta is cutting this alpha. So hopefully it's calculated in order. Yep. Cool. Now it's a little bit faster. Okay, you got the drill. So it's a bit cooler with the other example. In fact, maybe with this segment and cutter that I merge, randomize, will randomize work? Maybe it will work. Yeah, see, this one is adding randomizations. You might even be able to rotate it slightly. So a lot of potential here. Random vector. Let's try. How many cutter we have? 5. Okay, 5. Random axis. Okay, actually, this doesn't seem to work. Yeah, maybe not this way. Oh yeah, okay. You get some randomness here. So anyway, that's a bounding box and how you can slice and cut and trim 3D objects using this kind of node tree using SVERCHOK. Maybe another day in the future we use geometry nodes to do this kind of thing. Alright, so thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.